Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome back to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Been a while. No, it's not. I've been doing it weekly. I don't know. I feel weird, to be honest. I spent today, well, really this whole week, I finished the Digimon captions, and I was like, great, I finally get to work on my video. And then I accept this offer that my boss has, like, hey, could you teach this this merit badge virtually? So that takes up pretty much the majority of my week, kind of researching it and doing the necessary work for it. So I didn't work on my Naruto script at all. And so Friday comes, today comes. I already did my reading yesterday, like during the afternoon or so. And I wound up, yeah, so I just did my reading yesterday. And I've also just suddenly become sick in the past 2 days or so. I don't know if it's allergies or something else, but that sucks. And so then, yeah, I get to today, and I realized that I haven't done the time codes in months for the VODs. So I was like, let me spend time doing that, because it's gonna catch up on me. And I was like, oh, fuck, I haven't done them for how many vids? I'm gonna look. I want to look it up just a sec, real quick. I don't think I did them since C. It was like, yeah, I think it was like D to Dirty Pair. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I got through 10 streams, and I basically did that all day today, where I would just skimming through the whole thing, and then now you know, well, I still have the 2 more VODs of Genociber to Gauche, and then Rest of G First Edition, and then tonight's. So that was that's what I did today. So I'm a little like a loopy, kind of out of it, I guess. Hope you don't mind. Just wait for a few more people to come in, or you know, settle in, get started, sort of thing. So that's not great. And then there's also like this April vacation thing for my other job, that they're like, oh, you want to work Tuesday? Are you free Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? And I'm like, yeah, because I need money. You see, I just spent like $1,000+ on a flight, like round trip, to California because I'm going to a wedding. And it's actually with, you know, it's I mean, they have it posted publicly, but like Pedantic Romantic and Zaria. So I'm going to their wedding. And so that was like a fair chunk of money. So now I'm just like, yeah, I guess I'll spend some time working my ass off. The Naruto video can wait. Hello, Greg. Good to see you. So I mean, I have a bit of a headache. Not too bad of a sore throat. It's usually worse in the morning, and then like one of my nostrils has been kind of runny and sniffy, so that's annoying. Hope you guys like the. I just realized I didn't put the damn volume down this whole time. I'm so sorry. That's annoying. I was just like going back to the streams. I'm like, God, my audio's awful. At least for like the first like. The ones where I was having technical difficulties, of course, but even beyond that, like, the volumes are so bad. And thank you for correcting me and, like, actually trying to boost it and stuff. Because it's good that I hear my voice, and also I should talk more in the actual mic and not just talk whatever, you know, stream etiquette type of thing. Anywho, let's get right into these notes. The music was nice. It is nice. It was just a little overpowering in some of those earlier streams, because I can't hear it. I can gauge it, but like I can't hear it back in the VOD or whatever. Or maybe I have to use headphones, or there's something on OBS I could do. I don't know, but it's always been a problem. It's good to see you, Missy. I don't know quite pronounce that. The Anime Devourer, really cool. But yeah, I don't usually see you here. It's good to see you. All right. So here we're with the notes, and this is just the 3rd edition. So we're just doing, and I was like, maybe I'll just do all of G, but I was like, I don't want to bust my butt reading a bunch. I want to actually eat dinner and chill. Try to pace this out. So I got to Gintama, a little less than halfway maybe, but hopefully the next week will be the rest of G. I say it every time, so I'm not going to, because I got so annoyed at I repeat myself so often in these streams, and so I apologize. Gadgard, they were positive about. Undeniable Style had a little more money for this one. It's like that thing with the budget. I think they're kind of working with here. Interesting. Missy is how you say it. Oh, cool. Epic. That totally makes sense. Cool. Good stuff, Missy. Music is a jazzy respray of bebop. It's a shameless collection of well-worn cliches creatively assembled. So they were a little kind of backhanded with some of these compliments with Gadgard, but they seem to just generally like it. So yeah, that's cool. It's a positive. Gaku in Heaven, they were positive about. One of those one-off word, kind of throwaway opinions, not like a full review. A sweet, slow-paced BL show. Gallery Fake, they liked. Good things come to those who wait, and that's referring to the manga, the adaptation versus when the manga originally came out. Like Gallery Fake anime is 2005, and the manga is from the 80s or 90s or something. So good things come to those who wait, and it's a welcome change in contemporary TV. They just like something that's kind of different, and it's a little more informative and stuff. Genkatsuo, I figured they'd like it, but makes sense. Dazzling artistic reinvention, gripping, one of the gems of the early 21st century medium. Really, really liked that one. It makes sense. I mean, they were probably familiar with the source material. I wasn't when I watched Gank, and I think that I had different expectations, because I was told what the story was this guy, something terrible happens to him and he's about getting revenge, and I thought the person who was getting revenge was the main character in Genkatsuo, who is not that. The person who's supposed to be getting revenge is the very villainous looking person, the Count of Monte Cristo, and so that's the original protagonist, but they changed the perspective. And I can understand people really appreciating that change and thinking that's interesting, but I just had a really poor sense of expectation, so I do have to rewatch it with a better sense of that's what it was. Okay, that's the situation there, or just get more familiar with the source. Maybe read it. I don't know. Garden of Sinners, they liked. Ufotable never produced more beautiful work. Stunningly beautiful OST will stay in your memory, and they were really selling it too. I don't know if I put this down here of now interested. Actually, I'm gonna put that here. Garden of Sinners, their review, their talking of it was just this is for you, and they were really selling it. It's really great. Garden of Words, they were positive about. There's well realized imagery. They don't say too much else besides that, but the way they're describing it and talking about it seems that they liked it, or in the side of they usually, you can tell if they don't like something. They're a little more prickly. Gargantia, they enjoyed. Urobuchi winningly recycles a number of traits. Cool. They enjoyed that. Genius Party, they liked, and I can't really give you the full different descriptions and stuff, but they really go through each short. And the way they word them is this gorgeous, this, the haunting, this, and, they're kind of complimenting each one as they go. I finished all of You're Under Arrest. I loved the OVA, liked the show and the movie. The movie's directed is Diet Pat Labor Movie 2 for some reason. Not much like the rest of the series. The rest is meh. Well, it sounds like that's all of it. Wait, the OVA, the show, and the movie. What else is there? Those are 3 different mediums, Greg. I'm not familiar with the You're Under Arrest franchise, so let me look. Let me see. Taiho Chaozo. Okay. So the 4 episode OVA, which does look fantastic. The TV show, which is cool. That looks good. There's a special. I can understand not totally liking it. It looks like a beach episode thing. There's a 20 episode special. So there's mini specials. Okay. The movie. all right, looking forward to that. And the second season was meh. Yeah, I'm looking at the cover for that, and that's from 2001. So they must have gone like DigiPaint, and the designs look demonstrably worse, or at least a little less interesting, or like immediately eye catching. There's two other TV shows from '01 and '07. Oh, okay. So yeah, Full Throttle. Yeah, I would not be interested in watching that. I even just look at like '07. Put me to sleep. Even just the cover art, it's like no. Too bad. So sad. I didn't know it went that far though. That's interesting. All right, Genjiken. They liked that one. There was an affectionate parody of geekdom, and they take a lot of time just kind of describing each series and stuff. Ghost Hound they liked. I kind of could have seen that coming. Quiet, understated presentation, effectively but unflashily animated. This is so annoying that they just say this about this show, but then they have to like knock out on other shows for being limitedly animated. Being like, I don't. That's so annoying to me. Now we're in this swing of things. Plot characters emerge gradually. The music is superb, and the lighting color is masterful. Yeah, they loved that one. Ghost Hunt they liked too. I was kind of surprised by that. I wasn't such a big fan of it, but to be fair, it was a long time since I saw it. It was in the elitist phase, and it wasn't. I kind of finished it out of like obligation, I think, or was watching it passively, something like that. But they liked it. Suspenseful without being too scary. Pace is varied and lively, and the sound director does a fine job. Cool. Ghost Slayers Ayashi they liked. I do think that there were some things about it where like you could have said this was more mixed. And I think they say in the Ghost Hunt review that, like, oh, unlike Ghost Slayers Ayashi, you don't have to be a scholar or things like that. They kind of dig at Ayashi here. But usually, those words of just, like, wobbles on the line between macho and camp usually manages to stay on the side of entertainment. They really compliment, like, the action scenes and stuff. Like, oh, it makes up for it in, like, the action stuff. So it seems that they are mostly positive. '01 and '07 look the same somehow. Both look like they don't know how to use DigiPaint. Oof. That's especially sinful for '07. They should have figured that out by now. Giant Killing. The animation and design are attractive. The characters and stories are where the charm lies, and are refreshingly unpretentious. Nice. But there's something they said about Giant Killing, which I'll mention later, which is like, oh boy. What do you think of the new Otaku Versus video? Didn't see it in Digest. You know, it's so weird. I missed it. I don't know why. I just missed it. I saw him tweet it, and then it wasn't in my feed, and I didn't click watch later or something. So like it wasn't until after I recorded Digest or something that I refound it. I was like, oh dang, and I watched it, and it's good. It's just kind of at the same. I don't know if I would have had much to say about it either way. I still like it. It's similar humor. That one just didn't have the dub that time, and I think they're leaning into good stuff. I think it's good. And then Gintama, surprise, surprise, they like Gintama. I can't believe it. That's great. And heck, they're not even saying that they're positive, like, oh, what it gets later. They are positive, and then this book, they only had the original and 2011 and Chosen available at the time. 2015 had come out with like the Shogun assassination arc and Farewell Shinsengumi, stuff like that, which a lot of people like because it gives it the highest compliments. But they think it's a delightful farrago of nonsense. That's pretty positive, and they seem to kind of talk about it pretty nicely, I guess. Yeah, so that was a surprise. I like that though. I'm happy to see that. Galarian's Rion. Some negative opinions here. A plotting sub-Terminator often feels unsurprisingly as if one is simply watching someone else play the computer game it was based. This is just like the wording of this is so frustrating and so kind of overly robotic and flowery to me. It's like often feels unsurprisingly as if one is simply watching someone else play the computer game it was based on. But like, isn't that kind of what you would want? Because you'd want to see them in kind of an animated form and like elevated and stuff. I didn't know the full details of Galarian's Rion, but like, let's find out. Let's see what it's based on. I think it's like a PS2 game or something. I'm just gonna look at it. Galarian's Yeah, of course it doesn't show up. Yeah, of course not. Let me highlight this. Give me that Mal. Okay. Interesting. It's a CG anime. I mean, they probably said that, but it's one of those details that I don't like. I don't always register. Oh wow. 2 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 1 out of 10. Yeah, let me show you guys. Not well enjoyed, I guess. It is what it is. Da-da-da. All right. I'm happy to see they like Gintama, even if I don't. That's my thoughts exactly. You know, I wasn't really a fan of Gintama, but I'm happy for people who like it. Gintama took a minute for me to become acclimated to the erratic nature of the show. I never really liked it, and it really is the sort of thing where you either like the comedy, or you end up learning to like the comedy, or you never do. I never ended up liking it ultimately. I think there are some series where it's either the certain performers or the writing in particular that just clicks for me, that sort of reactionary humor. But like Gintama's never resonates with me, like almost not a single time. I don't know what it is, but yeah, again, kudos for people who can. Geisters. Highly uneven animation, little consideration of integration between 2D characters and CG backgrounds. And that specifically is because they mention how it's like a co-production between Japan and Korea, South Korea, where the 2D animated characters and stuff was handled by Japan, and then all the CG backgrounds were by South Korea. And so the integration of them weren't really that great. Ghost Talker's Daydream does very little with the idea in a misguided attempts to inject comedy. Oh, I think I put the asterisks in here because, like, there's something kind of ironic, at least when it came to Ghost. With Ghost Talker, this one here. With Ghost Talker's Daydream. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can what they have here. Oh yeah. the So the misguided attempts to inject comedy, and then the article that they're writing tries to inject comedy, and it's very misguided, I think, or it's just kind of annoying. I wrote it in one of the odd choices here. Yeah, so they have this quote: based on a concept by Saki Okase, whatever that means. Concept, like, that happens all the time, right? Doesn't this with anime, like, a person has credited for concept and stuff, and they're just sort of like, whatever that means. Presumably, Okase was the one who ran into the first meeting and shouted, 2 words, bondage investigator. You know, it's like a misguided attempt to inject comedy. See what I mean? I just found that funny, at least to me, that I couldn't get. I'm sorry if I'm not. I'm sorry if I don't feel too like animated this time around. Maybe I'm just like sick of their shit now, or I'm just like, I got a huge intake of the Encyclopedia today just from having to scroll through 10 multi-hour streams to timecode things. I never really laughed with Gintama except for the Shogun barber scene. I don't know why, but I laugh a lot for that episode. It did make me laugh in some places, and there was stuff where I think worked. But it's really go-to of like Shinpachi very verbosely reacting to what's going on in a metatextual way. I never liked it. It almost never worked for me. I can relate about not really being able to get into Gintama. The comedy just didn't do it for me. I watched all of Gintama, all of it. My opinion remains the same. In fact, I think it got worse as it went. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the last season's rough. I actually gave Gintama 2015 a good because I did end up mostly liking Shogun Assassination and Farewell Shinsengumi. But 2011 I have as a meh. The original season I have as a meh. And Chosen I actually have as a great because I really loved that batch, those 3 short arcs. Gintama, Courtesan of a Dynasty something, and then Beam Saber. Like those 3 in a row, really perfect length, appropriate amount of comedy, and just like really emotionally effective, and again kind of in a good short period of time. There was just like a really good package. I'm like, that's great. That's actually a fantastic season of Gintama. And then I gave what did I give awful? I gave like my worst rating to the movie. I gave it to movie 1, the Benny Zakura movie, because I just thought it was infinitely worse than how the show did. And then Poroi Hen I gave an awful, just because none of the arcs or anything in that worked for me, and it was also just in a really poorly placed part of the show. Like all of the stuff in 2015 had already happened, but now they're just giving us this extra stuff that should have already been adapted. It was just a weird choice. And then I actually really hated the last season of it before the movie. I haven't seen the final movie yet, but Silver Soul Arc 2 was so tedious and boring and like just really tiresome. And then Tamashi was also not great, but yeah, I can imagine you thinking it got worse as it went. I don't like Manzai reactionary reference comedy. Yeah, like I said, I think there has been some Manzai stuff that has been Manzai, but I don't notice it too much, and I do like it. But I always keep thinking of it, because I always think of Gintama when that happens. And I'm like, okay, why was this funny, but fucking Gintama wasn't, right? Yeah, it's not for everyone. Gift Eternal Rainbow, they were also negative about. Similarities to, we observe wearily, a huge number of other games for boys too scared to get to know girls outside their immediate family. We'd rather you take time to watch 5 centimeters a second. Whatever. It's another visual novel port. They also put, with the Gift Eternal Rainbow, they put like, the way they worded it was, adaptation of a visual novel porn game. Like, what? You know, like, it couldn't have just said adaptation of a visual novel game or adaptation of a porn game. But why do you have to put both of them in? Is this if you're trying to throw visual novels under the bus? At least it seems that way to me, right? Just the manipulation of that. But of course they didn't like it. It's sort of just like, yep, same old at this point, you know? It's just more evidence of it. I think it's good once this, hopefully when this video happens, by the end of this big project. I'm a little worried. I am kind of low-key thinking that, like, I'm going to get to the end of this and I will be too exhausted with the concept to even bother making a whole video about it. But I really want to articulate it because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that we've been able to discuss and discover here. Going through the streams and stuff was just really wonderful. But the problem with going through the VODs, I mean, they're fun and kind of relaxing and stuff. And I like talking with the people in chat, but I detour so much. There's so much padding and like it's not as long as going through the actual notes is not as long as it needs to be. Like as I'm discussing right now, right? So I'm considering like downloading all of the VODs and making a director's cut almost, and just so like just focus on the notes, and that could just be like that would be mostly useful for me. You know, yeah, that's what I'm considering. Anyway, yeah, so those are negative. Mixed reviews or mixed opinions. GA art design class, cute vignettes, more focused on the topic of like art school than Hidamari or sketchbook. To call it educational is stretching things, but it has aspirations in that direction. So I guess that, you know, it's one of the, again, they don't seem to like Hidamari or I haven't gotten to those sections yet, but as we've heard from their everyday anime section, they quite contempt for this kind of show. But it's like, oh, at least it's trying to be a little more educational, right? So I guess it's a little more mixed, but very backhanded. Gare Zero, they say it's like Clanad in its precisely calculated manipulation. If you happen to remember the Clanad review that we discussed. Delivers so magnificently it's chilling. Not subtle, but beautiful in many ways. All of them nasty. Horror and pity of love in a world of violence has rarely been so well imagined. I guess you could consider that positive, but it's very sickeningly in a way that I don't know how, it's not earnest. You know what I mean? It just gives me bad juju, personally. So I give that one a mixed. Galilei Donna, they say mostly harmless, pointlessly sci-fi retread of Da Vinci Code. But, like, you could have said that about Gankutsuo, but you liked it for that. You liked that it was sci-fi. But, like, what? Who cares? It's cool if it's sci-fi. As long as, pointlessly sci-fi retread? I don't know. Frustrating. Gargoyle of Yoshinaga. Pleasant, but undistinguished except for the gargoyle. It's just like any other show or something, except for the gargoyle, the one distinguishing feature. Thanks, I guess. All right. Well, at least you said it's pleasant. Get Ride Driver. Standard action adventure fare for older children, not likely to offer much to over 12s. Isn't that weird? I guess 12. When they said like fare for older children, I was thinking 13 to 18. And then they say not likely to offer much to over 12s. So like it's a very highly specific demographic niche that they're talking about, like 10 to 12 basically. Like, okay, I guess I could have said teenagers if they want to go over 12, but that's what I say when you think of older children, because 13 to 18 is still child, right? Just an older child. See what I mean? I don't know. Get Backers, extremely limited animation, and it's impressively long run on TV, and also just kind of the ways they were describing it, and went into a lot of detail with it. It was fairly positive for the most part, but there's other things that they were not so like big on it. Whatever. Ghost Stories they were mixed on. I thought it was highly derivative. The dub is less translated than improvised, quite possibly to the show's betterment. As someone who is, follows Mercury Falcon, that's tough. And to be honest, I'm kind of agnostic with that, because literally even watching the dub, it's so boring. The show is just okay. I'm sure it's fine with the subs, but then like you watch it dubbed, and it's not that enjoyable. It's exactly the same as Garzy's Wing, where like a compilation of dub clips of the funniest or wackiest kind of moments is way better experiencing that than actually watching it with the dub. It's not like they're clowning on it rapid fire that much, you know? A lot of it is kind of just like standard dub fare. It's not that enjoyable, in my opinion. So, I mean, I would probably watch it subbed if I was to watch the show. But, like, it's funny. The dub is hilarious. But, like, you know, I can only find Get Backers dubbed. I can't get past the first couple episodes. Interesting. Do you mean, so it's, like, not subtitled? I'm surprised. That seems like a little more high-profile title than I would, so I would kind of anticipate that it has something. Let me check Anime Bytes. Dual audio, it's subbed. At least I can find it that way. Seems alright. Alright. Okay. Older children normally means 8 to 12. Yeah, okay. Yeah, got gigantic formula. Wonderful concept. The designs are nice. It has the cardinal sin. Oh, don't you love every time they use that phrase? I don't. of interrupting the flow of battle for character flashbacks and plot exposition. A name like Gigantic Formula is unlikely to impress fans and distributors who tire of cookie-cutter stories. So clowning on the title, too. Nice. I mean, I think it's all a matter of execution when it comes to the interrupting a battle with flashbacks and stuff. I think it's all how you do it. If you cut away from the thing that's like really interesting, or you don't show enough of the fight and it's choked by exposition or something that's not as interesting, then sure, I think there's something valid about that. But all about how you do it. The first minute and 30 seconds of that's why I don't like saying cardinal sin, because that just means any instance. There is absolutely no exception, and I don't like that. I think that doesn't make sense, because art is so much broader, and like there's so much other things that can go right and go wrong with art. The first minute 30 seconds of Garzy's Wing is extremely funny, but it's mostly just standard Rush Tomino fare. Yep, I have the exact same thing about Garzy's Wing as I do Ghost Stories. It's fun and fine to watch in clips and out of context stuff with the dub, but watching it in full is boring. It's so boring. Alright. Spoilers for Garden of Words. The film ends with blah 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 blah. It's like, I didn't really have to do that. Get backers. There's some mild development stuff, like, oh, it turns out this other stuff, and like I would have preferred not to know that, or it's like that didn't seem necessary for the sake of spoiling that part. And then Gilgamesh, they say, in a twist, this happens. Okay, fair enough. Not much too else to that though. Let's go over some good before we move back into odd. I thought their Gantz article was fantastic. There's no opinion. There's a lot of good specifics and thoughtful observation about it. They even cite this nice Itano interview about it. I was like, oh, I'm surprised I was able to get some of this, go away with some of this stuff. And I just put very good. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I'm not going to read it fully on stream unless you guys want me to. I'm not going to do it like right here because like the flow of the VOD, you know what I mean? I'm trying to learn from experience of me going through this. Like, why did I talk for so long about that thing? You know what I mean? But Gantz is great. And then Garden of Sinners was a really good article too. And like I said there, really convinced me to want to watch it. Garden of Words was good for me. My son gave me that for Christmas one year. Heck yeah. I enjoyed it. Did I enjoy it? I am pretty sure I liked that one. Yeah, I put that as a good. I liked that one. It was a good vibe. Garden of Sinners, very eloquent and uniquely energetic synopsis. I enjoy it, yeah. And I like the kind of the way they were describing it. And let me just give you a brief thing on that one. I won't read the whole thing. Famous last words. I'm just going to search Garden of Sin. Shiki has two outstanding talents. One is unique. She can see when you're going to die. The other is less so. She can use a knife to make sure you do. She may look like an ordinary teenage girl, and her strangeness might come from the fact that she's just spent 2 years in a coma after a traffic accident. Or maybe it's her weird background. Children born into her family are usually raised with two distinct personalities, male and female. Sorceress and puppet master Toko is especially interested in Shiki, so much so that she gave Shiki's childhood friend Mikia a job in the paranormal investigation agency she runs. And there are plenty of paranormal cases to investigate in this ambitious series of movies based on an original novel by Kinoku Nasu of Type Moon. It's often considered as being in the same world as lunar legend Tsukihime. If you're ready to take a walk in the dark side, this is the series for you. 7 movies from the same team that twist chronologies and narrative arcs like pretzels, and mix magic, gore, and human cruelty for an intense and violent journey through the terrors of urban life and deathless love. They keep going and going. It's just kind of nice. And it was like, this is a good vibe. This is good energy. You know, I would hope and wish that a lot of the more high-profile anime get treatments like this. Garden of Movies is good. Karen no Kyokai is the earlier gateway to the Nosverse than Fate's Day. It's so weird seeing non-Nos people talking about Nos stuff. Yeah. I'll admit, I am a non-Nos person. The most I've seen is Fate Zero. Fate Zero 1 and 2. I haven't seen the original Fate's Day yet. I know people think that's blasphemy because like you should just watch Fate's Day Night because it makes Fate Zero really interesting because of the happens later and the prequel stuff. It's like I get it, but I don't know where I heard that I should watch it first or I made that decision. I don't remember. But I am interested in watching the Fate series by like now that it's complete in terms of Dean doing the Fate route. Unlimited Blade Works doing that middle route, I guess, and then Heaven's Feel doing that third route. So it's now a very complete picture. So I'm very looking forward to watching all of those. Yeah. And of course Garden of Sinners and stuff. Alright. I'm now interested in these titles. Let's look them up. Look them up. Gare Zero. Okay. Not the most thrilling. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. I suppose so. A Mal rewrite. Interesting. What did I like about this one? I think it's just like the fact that they've described this as similar to Clanad in its like perfectness. Like, oh, it's so precisely well made and shit. It's only 12 episodes. Okay. Interesting. A lot of people like that one. Cool. By the way, I love the poster in your background for Hajime no Ippo. I've been thinking about that for months. Yeah, thank you. Hello, Vintage Weeb. Yeah, so Gare, I guess. That seems alright. Interesting. Oh, by the way, Missy, I made that poster of, it's the, took like a poster of like two box of guys and have them face against, it's like Ippo versus Joe type of thing. So yeah, Gare Zero, I mean, it looks okay, but they were describing it very like enthusiastically. Gag Manga Weather, or Masuda Kosuke Theater. Let's see, Masuda Kosuke Theater. Oh yeah, oh, of course it's not gonna show up. Hey, that's only fair. Okay, Is it gonna show up? Is it this? Yeah, here we go. Look at that! The art's kind of cool. Well, that's interesting. Let me read their article on it. Oh, come on. Oh, it's because I spelt Masude wrong. I have Masuda Kosuke. Come on. Gag manga. That's gonna show up a ton of results. Okay. Where? There we go. A surreal series using a mix of live film, still images, and 2D animation with parody, gags, Japanese culture, both ancient and modern, and urban myths. Creator Masuda's original gag manga is renowned for its bizarre plot setups and crazily twisted humor, also specialties of director Daichi. This is probably why he stayed with the show through 4 series of this Monty Python-esque weirdness in 2005, 6, 8, and 10. So there's whole sequels to it, yeah. And Akutaro Daichi directed all these. So there's a second season. It looks really weird and cool. Huh. Alright. And then Plus is the 4th season. Wow. It doesn't have such strong ratings, but that's okay. It's only because, like, very few people have seen it. It looks really interesting. I'm happy I saw that. Or found that. It's really, really cool. Let me pull the chat up again. The Zero versus Stay Night, Limited Blade Works comes down to a Fate route being half exposition, being redundant, and also pretty mid compares to the later routes. Alright. Kara no Kyopai is by far my favorite ufotable work. Nice. Looking forward to it. Fate Root is sort of weird, though, because it has a different ending. Probably intending to be standalone as an anime instead of setting up the later roots. Oh, I see. Well, I already figured they're kind of alternate realities and stuff because it's different roots, so I think it'll be okay still. So cool! Yeah. I really wanted to watch the Weathering, but 5 seconds was kind of too melancholy. 3 short stories that have to throw a music video in the backgrounds to fill feature time. I felt the same way about 5 centimeters. I was really let down by it. I really liked the first short a lot. Yeah, I have it as a meh right now because I really loved the first short, and then the middle one was like, oh, okay, I guess, and then the third one it felt like they gave up because it was just a music video thing. But maybe I'll like it more on a rewatch, hopefully. That thing's on my plan to watch list, but then again, what isn't? Haha, Greg, haha, you've seen so much. I'm not jealous or anything, baka. Time for a fellow Masada Kosuke Chad to be born. Literally never seen anyone else bring this up. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I don't know about Masada Kosuke. Let's who's this guy? Masada. Who is this guy? Hey, who is this guy? Masada Kosuke. Literally only has ever had these anime attached. Okay. Huh. Alright. Yeah. I'm down. Down to clown. Let's see. GD Fairies. Fairies. 2. Alright, there's that one. Okay, I think I've seen this around. Right. I'm not too enthused about the visuals, to be honest with you. But, okay. Sure. Yeah, I'm really not too enthused about the visuals, but okay. Sure. The reason I was interested was just their description of it. Let me pull it up. GD Fairies. 3 quirky fairies discuss the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, with the occasional cutaways or footage of photographs that illustrate their ponderings, in a show that appears to have been largely improved by the voice actors and then synced to picture by the animators. Animator Sota Sugihara took over as director for the 2nd season in 2013. Wow. Okay. Oh, this is the special. Okay, so this is GD2. Alright. That's neat. Very much before VTubers were a thing, huh? Like, very old. GD Men? Oh. Okay. In 2018, huh? Alright, interesting. Yeah, not too enthused about the visuals, but other than that, okay. Ginban Kaleidoscope. Ginban. Yeah. Ice skating! Hey! Hey, they did make something other than Yuri on Ice. And the one about this one that they said was... Because I always... I read through the synopsis and they're looking for specific things sometimes. But at the very end, they're like, oh, it's a ice skating retread of Hikaru no Go. And I really want to take that as opinion because reading the synopsis, yeah. You notice the halo on this guy's head. So it's just like kind of a ghost and she's like, oh, I'm going to get better at skating. It's like, I'll help, So that's neat. I like that. That's interesting. Dean Anime is kind of a jumbled mess when OGVN Fate route is too much foreshadowing and front-loaded exposition that is only mattering in later routes, and really just there for the saber romance. Right. But I figure, you want to get kind of the similar experience of a lot of fans, and so a lot of them probably watch the Dean Anime and then Unlimited Playworks and stuff like that. I think I'd appreciate those other series more, once I see the big infamous CG dragon and shit like that. Guy Ray Zeroes has God Tier opening song. Fun fact, Haruhi OVAs reference it. Interesting. The way they say that they said improved sound, they say improved, sounds like they meant to say improvised. I thought so too. I definitely thought so too, but I guess you could have said improved. Like, sure. Hey, did I miss anything? I haven't gone to the odd choices yet, but I've done all the reviews. This is just for the 3rd edition, just some of those. And there hasn't been anything too wild this time. Although I also always say that. There's a lot of cliches in these streams. All right. And then, yeah, I actually really liked their stuff for Garden of Sinners, Gantz, and Get Backers. It really made me want to watch those shows, even though I'd already heard of them before. Sorry for the snorting. Yeah, so that was good. Anywho, it's good seeing you, Fullwood Man. All right, so let's odd choices. Gadgard. Plot is brain power. This is just funny. It's just like, oh, more of this sort of thing. Plot is brain powered, wearing a retro cloak via the Big O and a touch of Dark City. Can't at this point you just say it's its own thing at this, because it's like so specific and they're referencing all these different shows. It's like kind of a lot. Interested they like Gantz because fans of the manga hate the anime. Oh, of course. I think they hadn't seen I don't think they read the manga. So, I don't think they were positive about Gantz. They don't give any opinion about it. Let me read their article on Gantz. But just like the way they described it was like, this is cool. I know there's more about reading Gantz, and I loved Super Eye Patch Wolf's video on it. But the way they were talking about the anime here is just pretty well done. Sullen, resentful teenager Kei and his estranged buddy Masaru die in a train accident, only to be apparently resurrected in a mismatched team of similarly unfortunate individuals, including a suicidal beauty, luckless gangsters, a baffled teacher, and a creepy schoolboy. Subject to draconian control by the Gantz, a mysterious black sphere, they are handed X-ray guns and told to hunt onion-based alien life forms or die again. Like Battle Royale crashed into Wings of Desire with courtesy breasts, Gantz throws everyday people into a life-or-death conflict, but focuses on their humdrum musings. What to wear, how to impress girls, who gets the rocket launcher. Based on a manga by Hiroya Oku, the brains behind the softcore jailbait fantasy Strange Love, Gantz is a black comedy of manners. Its leading men have learned how to be the heroes from anime, comparing themselves to characters from Dragon Ball and Fist of the North Star. Oh wait, I'm already dead, proclaims a joyous Kei as he attempts a death-defying leap. It also reveals internal thoughts, affording snatches of personal inner monologues, warts and all. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the early train scene, where commuters studiously ignore a drunken tramp who has fallen on the railway track. Kei only offers to help because he is shamed into action by peer pressure, a rather British form of control through embarrassment that also afflicts his bickering lustful associates in the afterlife. The voiceover exposition is also a handy aid in getting around primitive lip sync in a cash-strapped animation budget. The agents are also made to wear fetishistic skin-tight collars, specially reinforced to protect the neck. If the aliens break an agent's neck, death is real and permanent. When the chosen agents return from each mission, Gantz displays another message showing their score, as if Tokyo was a vast arcade and the battle was some grotesque shoot-'em-up. They pass the time between missions watching TV, which is how Kei and Masaru learn their bodies have never been found. They've been registered as missing ever since the subway accident. They decide to try and get their ordinary, boring, problem-filled high school lives back, leaving the battle to save the Earth to others. Gantz seems to be one of the first TV anime to have been intended less for a broadcast experience than for binge viewing on TiVo or DVD. The ticking time limit on missions extends across several 25-minute episodes, and the content was something that even director Ichiro Otano, no stranger to controversy after Angel Cop and Violence Jack, did not expect to make it onto TV. In a candid interview included in the DVD extras, he reminisces about the good old days when Bones snapped on primetime in Tiger Mask, and intelligently identifies Gantz, nihilism, lack of affect, voyeurism, and all as a touchstone for understanding modern youth's obsessions. In that regard, it is worthy of comparison with Paranoia Agent. Episodes 1 through 11 were broadcast, heavily censored, on Fuji TV beginning in April 2004. The so-called Gantz second stage began with episode 14 and aired uncut on satellite TV networks. Blah, blah, blah. Gantz becomes increasingly erotic in the second half, as the agents start to take advantage of their virtually indestructible status, although Kay remains frustrated with his feelings for a girl who does not realize that he has saved her life. 2 live-action movies followed. So they don't really give any of their opinion on that, but it does sound like, you know, they're writing about it thoughtfully. You know what I mean? Giving a lot of specific examples. I just thought it was really good. The real Fate fan experience is to skip to playing FGO and then just marathon reading the wikis. Yeah, fair. Doesn't Brain Powered Warp predate Big O? I think so. Yes. It might be the same year, but close. I think it might be before. I watched the first 8 Gadgard like 12 years ago, but never finished. At this point, I don't remember why I stopped or anything about the series in general, TBH. No, fair enough. It's weird they call Gantz mannered with how it was treated as like edgy trash like Elfen Lied back in the same era. By the fans, sure. But, you know, that's their interpretation, I guess. I personally dropped Gantz after 7 episodes, just didn't click with me. I'm not a fan of the director. Yeah, that's fair. Man, I'm also really feeling a suffering mood, and right after I watch Majiga Record 3, I wonder if I just like tragic endings. Fair. Same for me, but I want to give the manga a shot sometimes, though. Yeah, I'd probably read it, because I loved Inuyashiki. I believe that's the same author. But I actually much preferred the manga at the time. I ended up reading it alongside the anime. The anime was fine, but the manga was fantastic. First time I've ever heard Gantz being compared to Paranoia Agent. I know, right? It's interesting. And welcome in this particular instance. Anyway, I said I wouldn't do that because of the VOD, so I apologize. I did it anyway. Let's keep going. Let's just restart odd choices right now. Okay. Gadgard, the plot is brain-powered, wearing a retro cloak via the Big O and a touch of Dark City. Just a lot of different comparisons. It's like a little weird, okay? It is, yeah. Ghost stories. School was once haunted. Hardly a surprise, considering Here Comes Hanako and Haunted Junction. One wonders if there's a school in anime that isn't haunted. There's a lot of school anime, and I don't really know. I don't think the vast majority of them are haunted in any feasible way. I mean, maybe there's a story here or there about some of them, but that's not like that's not as big of a shtick as they're making this out to be. That's a little weirdly hand wavy to me. Like, or you think you're above it all or something? Like, it was just so weird. Same author. Honestly, Atana was a great animator, but a terrible director. The only thing he ever directed is Megazone. Only good thing he ever directed is Megazone 23 Part 2. I actually haven't seen too much from him, I don't think. But I've had those vibes, for sure. It's too bad. Ghost Talker's Daydream. Based on a concept, yeah, we talked about this, by Saki Okusei, whatever that means. You don't say that with other things that there's based on a concept by. Like, come on. Presumably, Okusei was the one who ran into the first meeting and shouted 2 words, bondage investigator. Sheesh. Giant Killing. Oh my god. Like Tsubasa and Kickers and all the other sports anime before it, this isn't actually about the sport. It's about the psychological drama. You did not just say that this is about the characters and not the sport. It's not about this mecha is not about the robot, it's about the characters. No! Although maybe that is the case with Giant Killing, and they really don't do mention like the sports. It's really about the management, maybe. Sure. That description makes me want to move Gadgard from drop to on hold. Yeah. Also, gotta disagree. Angel Cop's great. I have to still actually watch Angel Cop. I've seen all of it technically because I went through the whole thing when we were doing the remaster. Like we got the new scan of it, but I had to go through it very painstakingly to find any overscan and then cite that so we can like crop out the overscan. So I have seen all of it technically, but none of it was with sound. So I haven't really fully watched it in the same way. It looks gorgeous though. The remaster. Definitely watch the remaster. Like it's kind of I kind of have the feeling of making this video about how like watching something in the highest, best quality possible actually has a like an innate psychological thing of like you'll enjoy it more. Like I think you actually will enjoy something more. Like there's still a possibility you won't, but like I've gotten that vibe from a few titles where it's like I see them in like this really the highest quality available, and like that looks really really cool. And then I look them up, and I find a rip that's kind of one of the classic VHS Laserdisc older rips, and I don't have the same vibe or feeling from it. And I'm like, that's interesting. I think the quality is actually factoring my enjoyment. I chose to watch Ghost Stories subbed because I couldn't get past the ridiculous dub. Sure, it's amusing, but it did a disservice to the author's story. I don't know. To me, it's like, as long as both versions exist, it's fine. In terms of the disservice to the author's story and stuff like that. I don't know. Because there's some anime with their dubs that are very different that I do think are better. And in a way, in a kind of their own way, is doing a service because the audience is having a better time. And at the end of the day, isn't that what the author wants? You know? I don't know. It's a weird thing to think. I've just been thinking about that a little more and trying to challenge it. Because usually that's the very conventional wisdom of like, oh, this does a disservice to the author and stuff. And it's like, well, if it's not exact, right, then it's a disservice? Not necessarily. What if they make a change and it's actually a way better change? And the author is like, wow, I didn't even think of that. You know? It just kind of closes the door for like interpretation and for adaptation. It's literally unlike other soccer shows. This one's about the characters. Yeah, Missy, the anime Devourer is fun. It's funny because the director prefers the dub over the original. That's so interesting. The remaster restores the original aspect ratio, right? Yeah, pretty much. Yes. I believe like when it was initially released for a lot of the time, it was released full widescreen. And so we were also releasing it 4:3, which in terms of like what it was originally intended and stuff, I'm not fully familiar. Because there are some OVAs like that where they intentionally wanted to make it for 16:9, but they animated it in 4:3. I don't even think the author did a service to their own story. Sheesh. I know, but still, my brain said no. I get that, and I also I've voiced my reasons I don't watch the dub either. Don't like the classic vinyl texture lines. It's not the texture lines. It's the faded color and the lack of detail. It's you see some like comparison shots in Angel Cop and it's like, holy shit. It's gorgeous. But then there's other ones like you really have to rely on like the basic designs and animation and story and stuff. But I think you get a fuller appreciation of the craft on display if you see it in the best quality. Angel Cop dub is great. The sub is pure torture. Oh, interesting. I'll definitely watch the dub then. I just don't find the jokes in the Ghost Stories dub to be that funny personally. Like, it's kind of basic abridged series stuff, but without the benefits of actually being abridged. Yeah, precisely. Which is why it's kind of sort of tedious to just watch the full episodes, and it's better to watch it as a clip show. I agree with that. For example, an example of the original creator preferring a change made in the dub, Kubo prefers the term Soul Reaper to Shinigami, despite it not being faithful. That is interesting. Huh. I respect that. I'm always going to think Shinigami because it's like, oh, that's what he's trying to do, Grim Reapers. But Soul Reaper, it's trying to be more identifiable and specific, and like he doesn't want to just be lumped in with the classic thing. That's cool. I'll probably put that Soul Reapers. Make my Naruto video. Hunters. Like, where is it? Yeah. Grim Reapers. I have like Grim Reapers, but I'll put Soul Reapers instead in my Naruto script. Okay. Whew, I'm kind of not feeling great because I think I'm sick. But we'll see. Vintage VHS tearing. I think there's some series of anime where it works and it looks good, but others where it's like, man, I wish it was in better quality. Okay. Gift Eternal Rainbow. Yeah, we talked about this adaptation of a profitable porn game. Like, okay. And then also, yes, even without associated hot springs, You may treat this as a cliché alert. Oh, vomitrocious. Cliché alert. That's a thing I've seen before! Therefore bad! Oh no! Cliché alert! You know, I'm just clowning. Maybe tropes are good, actually. Like the, average cliché alert fan versus the, average cliché enjoyer. Trope enjoyer. Yeah. Gintama. Surprised to hear people care about video quality. Although all those people in Ya comments keep saying encoding is not an important part of the process. They're coping. It's because they don't know how to do it. It's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not that important. It's fine. Ugh, whatever. Troporific. The director prefers Ghost Stories dubbed because he felt the original failed at being scary and was boring. He liked that the dub was more entertaining. Abe directed Ghost Stories, by the way. Oh, interesting. Gintama. Here's a weird thing. I feel like they've criticized other anime for being too esoteric with their Japanese comedy. But here they're just like, who cares? You know, it's like, you're just weak. Get good. Some fans have criticized the series' humor for being hard to understand if they're not Japanese. Which, frankly, is about as constructive as criticizing the French for speaking French, especially in these internet days wherein everyone and their dog expounds on Japanese culture online. I actually really haven't heard that many people complain about that for Gintama specifically, but the specific Japanese humor. No, the humor is more of just the delivery and format and how tedious and repetitive it is, and verbose, it's word salad. And it's nothing to do with it being Japanese or the content and what they're talking about. It's always just like, he's wearing underwear? Why is he wearing underwear? Where is he wearing? Why is he wearing underwear? Like, it's like the same. They're just repeating it over and over again. It's not funny. It's definitely not scary. People complaining about bad encodes are all I see under Nya comments. Lol. Hazel, how are you? I don't see you on Twitter these days. I was getting nostalgic for your comments in the previous, because I've been editing these VOD. I set the time codes to like 10 different VODs, and that's all I've been fucking doing today. So that was fun. But I just got this, I was like, man, I haven't heard from Hazel in a while. There's also people in Yahoo upload those 60 FPS interpolated garbage every time there's a Sakuga moment. Lol. Lamau. Yeah. Now's garbage. It is what it is. Hi, Hazel. Series 3 and Chosen ran for 64 episodes? Let me just make sure you understand that I'm not memeing here. Let me pull up Gintama. Gantz. Yeah. So over here, TV1, 201 episodes for TV1, 51 for TV2, that's the 2011 series. 25 minutes times 64 episodes for TV3 for Unchosen? You see over here, Series 3, Gintama and Chosen, also known as Gintama for the first 4 episodes for comedic reasons, began its run in 2012 and ended in March 2013 after 64 episodes. So that's strange, because it's only 13, at least according to listings on Mal and such. But I'm pretty sure what the case is... Sorry. I believe within Chosen, the description here has... Oh, it doesn't have it. It used to have it where, like, basically it's overdrive. It's basically the stuff that, like, would have faded in, but they kind of released it later. So, like, spring 2011, and, so, like, the second season, Gintama Apostrophe, starts in spring 2011. And so it runs for 51 episodes for a year, and so in spring 2012 is when it ended. I'm reading the series. So it says began its run in 2012 and ended in March 2013. So it began its run in 2012 as in fall 2012 and ended in March. which is interesting because that would make it for 2 seasons. That would make it for like 2 core, right? Because if it starts in fall of 2012, that would mean it ran for the fall season of 2012 and then the winter season of 2013 in order to land and end March 2013. But it's only 13 episodes, so it's only 1 core. So I don't know how it was released. It may have been mixed in with like original Gintama, maybe you guys know. But I thought that was kind of weird and interesting. But like maybe they're confusing it for because they added 13 with 51. To get a total of 64 episodes, but yeah, that was a little weird and not quite accurate. Hey Greg, disagree about the Angel Cop dub. I think it adds a bunch of pointless cursing that makes it hard to take seriously. Yeah, I would. That's the thing, though. I wouldn't want to really take it seriously, so I'm okay with them adding a bunch of swears. The dub does remove the perceived anti-Semitism, but censored subs also exist if you want them. Oh, weird. I mean, that would be hard for me because it's like I can still hear them. I can still hear what they're saying. Censoring the subs isn't really going to help me. I pre-ordered the collector's edition of WEP. Egg-pilled. Let's go! Your explanation points look oddly like question marks. I use question marks as an exclamation. It's all good. Fair. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's only about an hour and I've finished. Yeah, I just cranked them this time, I guess. And that's fair. And maybe I'll just make this an hour and 30 or so, which I think is just kind of the nice appropriate length for these. And then every time it's over 2 hours, it's like, I'm just on stream for the sake of it, and I have all the energy in the fucking world. And I've labeled a lot of the time codes as just nonsense. But yeah, I'll just chill for a little while. Make this like an hour. I don't want to have one that's like super short as like about an hour, right? You know what? While I can do this here, I'm just going to open all of the previous files for G, and I'm going to... No, I'll wait till I finish G. I'll wait till I do next week, and I'll have finished all of G, finally. Sorry G took forever. It's literally one of the shortest one of the shortest letters, and yet it took me forever. So sorry about that. I'll put everything up like here. I don't know what to talk about. How are you fellas doing? I started Bokurano last night, and I got a little reamed on Twitter for like calling it a royale. I didn't say battle royale. I know they don't fight each other, but like it's clearly set up in a situation. I guess it's so funny. The first time I ever heard about Bokurano was Glass Refractions review, where he said he starts it being like, go watch the first episode. I'm not, and he's like, don't watch the rest of this review until you've seen the first episode or first 2. I would imagine first 2 episodes because it doesn't really reveal its hand quite yet. Even like, and I know about the premise. I know kind of about the stuff. So maybe like I was a little more on my guard and a little more trying to figure out what's going on and like, 15. There's 15 creatures. And the professor's going to take care of the first one. And only 14 out of the 15 kids sign up for the game. But then mysteriously, the girl who doesn't sign up is involved again. But she doesn't have a chair. So it's like, oh, this is like a wrench in the professor's plan. Where there's 14 more monsters to beat. But 15 kids. There's going to be 1 kid left. You know? So that's the I'm working with. You know? What do you think of Thriller Bark? I have not started it yet. I'm going to start it tonight or tomorrow. So, like, what happened was we were so into Water 7 and Ennie's Lobby and all that, like, we could not stop. So we went, like, 1 week, we did, like, 42 episodes of Water 7. And then I was like, all right, I guess we just skipped an entire week, and now we're just going to keep going. So I was about to start Thriller Bark this week, and then my roommate who suggested that we go ahead, he's like, oh no, we just calm down this week. We just don't watch any this week. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So I have not started it necessarily, but I'm on that part. The last episode I saw was Ace versus Blackbeard. Holy shit! God. I prefer the Angel Cop dub because of the gag dub nature. Honestly, even if you look past the hateful content of the original, it's just incredibly boring. Got that web on tap. That alternates from pretentious political ramblings to forced action scenes that just slow pacing down. Bokurano was cool, but I've only seen the first episode so far. Oh, you a Thriller Bark? Nice. I've not watched much anime lately, playing visual novels instead. I see, Vic. That's cool. That's epic. I still got to get into them. It's because I know that they take such a long an investment of time. I think it would be hard for me because I'm just like, oh, but I have this other stuff I want to, other stuff I want to do. I'm just lazy, I guess. I like Bokurano, but I might have to read the manga for more character backstories. I'm taking a break from my ridiculously long spring queues. Thanks for the distraction. Hey, that's fair. I'm glad this is working. What have you been playing? Bokurano's good. I just finished watching it 1 ounce. It's pretty good. The characters are a little thin and it doesn't feel as polished as the director's work on Kaiji. Do you know it's also the same voice actor who played Kaiji? Played Toa? Same voice actor. So they have a lot in common. Those three series, Kaiji, Akagi, and 1 ounce. Akagi and Kaiji are also voiced by the same guy. I love that voice actor. But 1 ounce is fun. I kind of regret not watching Naruto when it was at least relevant. Fair. I'm not sure about Naruto. I think it's a little extreme with the cover, with the girl with a gun on her head. It's like, ew, yikes, But I will admit, Bokurano, I'm still not fully on board with. I like it. I have it as a good right now. But I can already tell I'm going to be overthinking it a lot. Just really on my edge of my seat and thinking about things, how the series works and things like that. But then it's not enjoyable on a moment-to-moment basis so far. The characters are kind of interesting, and I'm liking the dynamics so far. And of course the plot and the premise are what's the most interesting. But the designs of the mech fights, and even the designs of the characters and the aesthetic of the show are doing kind of nothing for me. They're fine. I don't even think of any of the music. I can't even think of any music that's happening right now. But it seems to be one that's really entirely reliant on the plot characters aspect. And I'm not always the biggest fan of that. And then the precise nature of Bokurano just is really putting me on the edge of my seat in a not so comfortable way, I guess. Bokurano. Let me mute for a second. Sorry. Can anyone guess what those GIFs are from the Be Right Back screen? Anyone know what show this is from? It's the same show as this one, actually. It's the same idea. That one has actually more of a hint of which show it's from, actually. But you'll know if you've seen it. I have not seen this show, but I know where those are from, and it's if you've seen it, you'll probably know. Let's see. I kind of regret not watching it, yeah. Original memories off, mostly playing it because it's first Uchikoshi work. Oh, okay. I'm not sure familiar with Uchikoshi, but I imagine if you're seems like a prolific writer. Sorry. Honestly, the production of Angel Cop is more interesting due to just how long it took to get finished. The thing went through 3 different writer-director pairs. Personally, I think Thriller Bark is better in the manga just because of how Oda's shading in that arc. But the anime has a part I think that's a big improvement. My favorite episode of the anime. Ooh, you'll probably know when you see it. Exciting. I'm also excited for Thriller Bark because it's a little bit of a downer, not downer, but a little seems like a little more low key because Water 7 was kind of a lot. I liked Water 7 a lot, but it was just a lot, really a lot. So I'm looking forward to because I know right after this is Marineford. Or a lot of that kind of is the whole thing of Marineford, basically. And I know that is also a lot. So I'm looking forward to Thriller Bark in that way. Um, and even started off as a parody of cyberpunk anime. I thought it's the same voice actor as Akagi. It is. So Akagi and Kaiji and Toa are all the same voice actor. Oh, sick. That sounds really good. I'm not really familiar with much of Uchikoshi's stuff past 999, Never 7, and Punchline looks really cool. Oh, yes, it is Yawara. Yes, it is. It's fantastic. Gonzo produced anime is hard, carried by its plot, like NHK was for me. Oh my god, wait. I didn't even realize Bokuran was a Gonzo. That totally makes sense. With the CG mechas? Not because they're CG, but the flavor, the precise flavor of those mecha reminds me a lot of Genkutsuo. That completely makes sense. Dang. Blew my mind, of course. Thriller Bark is Oda goofing around before Marineford starts. Oh, thank God. Oh, I love that. Hey, yes, give me that. One Piece is eternal. Facts. Watching it, I don't know if you know, Missy, I've been watching it 3 episodes a day. Although, really, what we've been doing is watching it in 21-episode batches because of the kind of show where you watch it, you can't stop watching. It's so bingeable and, like, constantly want more of it. I would watch more, like, and just be gun far ahead. We probably would have been at Marineford by now if that was, you know, if I just didn't stop. But I'm pacing myself out, basically. I watched the first episode of Akagi and liked it, but realized I don't know enough about Mahjong to follow most of what happens. Yeah, it's the same yeah, oh, of course. And I actually had an idea for a video, and this would probably, I don't know when this would happen, because I would have to watch these 2 other shows. But I had this idea about, because I had the same feeling about Hikaru no Go, and I've seen Akagi as well, and I had this feeling as well, but Hikaru no Go got me the idea of, like, you can still have a really enjoyable show based around a game that you have no idea how to play. Like, not even the first thing. Like, not even remotely close. And you wouldn't even be able to follow it just purely showing you the game. So Hikaru no Go with Go. I have no idea how to play Go, and yet I love that show. Mahjong with Akagi. And there's other shows with Mahjong, of course, too. But I think Akagi's a pretty good example. Shogi with March Comes In Like a Lion, and there's, again, other ones that probably deal with shogi as well, but that's the big, the one everyone knows about. And then Chihaya Furu with Karata, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the only ones. I know, like, Conan talks about it, does, like, a Karata thing, but it's, like, in one of the movies. But, dedicated series about Karata, Chihaya Furu is the big one. So, like, those 4 really kind of high-profile shows, all dealing with this very Japanese-only game. I would love that, of, like, kind of just having that video discussing those 4 things, and how does each one treat their sport, like, how much information do they give you, how does it presented, but ultimately, how are you able to still enjoy these shows even if you never really get the rules or just the game. I love that. I think that will be really effective and interesting, because I do fully believe that, like, you can totally enjoy Akagi and kind of get the appeal and appreciation of the show without knowing anything about Mahjong. I ended up learning Mahjong technically when I played. I have 51 Clubhouse games, and they have Mahjong as a game, so I played Mahjong, but it's still so complicated. You would have to play it a lot in order to finally really understand it and remember everything. So I mean, I get the fundamentals of it, but even then, if I watched Akagi now, I wouldn't really fully be able to tell you what's going on. But it is a matter of, like, the tension and the characters and being able to articulate the flow of a game rather than the precise things of what's happening. We'll watch whenever I learn how to play Mahjong. I wonder if more people would watch Yawara if they realized it was from the author of Monster. Probably, but also, like, it's just like Master Keaton as well, where, like, it's not like, well, also Monster is very precise and, like, I wouldn't say Yawara, I haven't seen Yawara, but it doesn't seem like the kind of story like Monster, right? Which is very plot driven, thriller, really deep invested characters. I'm not trying to downplay Yawara really, but, like, it doesn't seem like that kind of show, but also, yeah, the anime is just not really available. Wow, Kokoshi did Punchline. I realized that I didn't know enough about Mahjong when starting at Kage. You kept watching anyway. Lol, good way to pace it. I started the anime when it was up in the 700s. Took me 2 months of watching nothing but One Piece to catch up week to week. Yeah, like 2 months. Yeah, and you can totally do that. Yeah, I probably would have gotten caught up by now. It's been 4 months or so, like, well, 3.5. And I could have seen myself doing that because I have a lot of time on my hands sometimes. But I've been watching other anime and stuff, and I've been doing other stuff. So I've been really pacing it out. But, like, I definitely could have seen myself catching up really quick. I love March Comes Into Like a Lion so much I had to start reading it. Yeah. That sounds like a really good video, TBH. Yeah, I'm really interested in it. I have to watch March Comes In Like a Lion first, and I have to watch Chihaya Furu. So it'll be a while. But also I'm just working on this Naruto video, so oh well. That's what I'm working on. There's some videos that I've eventually released that I had ideas for a long time, like the video about Well-Ordered Restaurant. I've always wanted to talk about that one, but it was more in the context of like, oh, horror anime, and and like, oh, what's considered scary, whatever. And I've incorporated that in the video, but that one's mostly about comparing the 3 versions. I'm glad I started watching One Piece in 8th grade. Don't know if I could catch up otherwise. Oh, you absolutely can. Don't underestimate, because it's 1,000 episodes, but like, they're not all 20 minutes. The episodes are not 20 minutes, right? Because there's the OP, and then there's the recap, and I'm not encouraging you to skip all of that, right? The skipper, whatever. But like literally, it's the kind of show where you need to see the next thing, and so it's so addicting. And also the kind of boom to be continued screen. It's so, and it's fun and like engaging and interesting. It's a fucking amazing show. I'm surprised. I'm not to dunk on anyone who's stalled on it or anything, but I'm surprised people can ever stall on One Piece. I'm honestly shocked, because I'm like, gosh, I would watch right now. I'll probably watch after this stream because it's technically the next batch of episodes. But anyway, I need to watch March Lion, but I was kind of burnt out on Shaft after too much Nisio Isin. Dang, fair. That's a different author, so it could be different vibes, but I think that's fair. Mahjong is just matching 3s. No, it's way more than that. No, come on. Mahjong is really a whole thing. I love 51 Clubhouse games. You ever play the original DS game? I didn't know there was an original DS game. That's really cool. I literally got a Nintendo Switch just for that game, 51 Clubhouse games, because I just want to play fucking Connect 4 whenever I want. And then I just, I ended up like golding all of the games, mostly. I think there was some that I couldn't do, but like, and then I put it down. And sometimes I occasionally go back and play like, it's the one where you play with Mahjong pieces, but they're all stacked on top of each other, and you have to pair them. I forget I think Mahjong Solitaire, something like that. I go back and replay those, but I could just also play like other stuff. I don't know. Ushikoshi was the reason I watched my first anime, Punchline, so he'll always have a special place in my heart. Victor, your first anime was Punchline? Holy shit. Wow, interesting. That's just so cool. If they ever make an anime adoption of Destroy All Humankind, they can't be regenerated, I will finally have a game anime I fully understand. Nice. Yeah. Chihaya was surprisingly good. I didn't expect it to be as exciting. Deleted Twitter, but I check all your account all the time because I'm waiting for you to get to my favorite episode of One Piece. I'm sorry I don't like tweet about One Piece that much. I don't know. You know what? I maybe in part because I don't want to be spoiled on it, but it's the same thing with Naruto and Bleach, where I really didn't talk about them that much. So yeah, I apologize if I haven't really gotten to those things. I don't talk about it as much. But I will say recently, because this whole Naruto video, and I'm still working on it, I'm going to finish, but then it's like, I was having those vibes of like Naruto video be like the last bit on my channel because it's just so big, and I'll have said a lot, and I'm realizing I don't have much time to work on vids anymore and stuff like that. But then my roommate was like, really? You're not going to make a video on One Piece? And I'm like, Yeah, I would want to. Because I had this, like, the kind of the two ideas I had so far is One Piece fans don't know how to sell One Piece. Like I have seen so many people try to get me into One Piece, and it was only now that I was like my own volition, because this whole like, oh, Bleach then Naruto then One Piece thing that convinced myself. I already knew it was good, but in terms of actually, and then I got to it and watched it, I was like, oh my god, why have I not checked this out until now? What was I waiting for? And nobody tells you. Nobody to me has articulated the things that could have really convinced me to watch it. At least I think so. I would make a video about that. And then I had this idea about the sound of One Piece, because I think I heard of as somebody really like going into the whole thing of like, oh, like it's not even that big of a deal to watch, you know, with the sound and everything, kind of go, you know, really downplaying the anime and stuff. But like I really can't. I really want to stress the sound department in One Piece, and it's a combination. It's the music, it's also the voice acting, and it's the sound effects. The very like music and voice actors get talked about all the time. The sound effects in One Piece, which are a lot of from Toei's bank of like sound effects from like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, but just like the soundscape of One Piece as well is so perfect. Everything about those three things. I would never want to read or experience One Piece without those things. They've become so crucial and fundamental to the experience. It doesn't matter how long or stretched or weirdly paced it is. Those things are vital to me. So I'd want to make a video about that too. Well, it's a 12-minute show and a 24-minute disguise. Exactly. I still feel One Piece would have a much bigger Western fan base if Toei gave it to Funny instead of 4Kids. Yeah, sure. But also, you think about the Western fans and what they care about is the fights. Really cool, really big fights. And it's like, whoa, action, right? You know what? I'm not watching One Piece for that. And so I can understand if, like, Dragon Ball Z fans aren't as big One Piece fans because, yeah, it's got some cool fights here and there. It's not a slouch, but, like, it's not, you know, or Naruto's very finesse and really cool choreography and just more cool, its own factor of cool, and then Bleach's own brand of cool. But then One Piece was just kind of the third one that was this big long-running one, the big three, so that would get, those corners would still be covered, but I think it makes sense, besides the 4Kid stuff, which I think you're right, there is some argument to be said about that. But they've I think for Toonami has mentioned, even long after it's been years or decades since Funimation has dubbed One Piece, and there's been multiple times where they've tried to bring it over to the United States and put it on Toonami, and it's not done well, and for whatever reason. And I do think it's because of the fights and stuff. That's one reason, maybe. Love Chihai Fruit, the manga's ending is in another volume 50. Oh my gosh. Didn't Funny eventually get One Piece, though? Yeah, for decades. Just commit blasphemy and watch it 2 times speed at slow exposition moments. I would never do that. I love that it's 1,000 episodes. I'm so happy it's 1,000 episodes. I'm just going to bask in it, and I'd put it at 0.5 times speed if it wasn't insufferable that way. Nothing, you don't want to watch anything at 0.5 times speed because the sound drags out. I don't know what it is. But I would never want to watch it 2 times speed. Just for One Piece, because I just love One Piece that much. The DS game is interesting as it has different games depending on the region. Yeah, but then by then 4Kids dub had already stained its reputation for years. And then it's not. It only went up to Alabasta. It really not that bad. It did some damage, but I don't know, I think there's more to it. I watched the Funny dub when I was younger. Yeah, Funimation got it, but it was 2008 by then. Its popularity was already stunted by getting a start so much later than Naruto and Bleach. Oh shit, a tutorial regun Chad in chat. Nice. I can only get one of my 4 kids to watch One Piece. Their loss. Those kids' is loss. Yes, based in magic-pilled manga. The worst part about the 4Kids dub is that 4Kids didn't even want the show to begin with. It's Toei's stupid idea. I watched the Funny dub when Cartoon Network temporarily aired it. Made me a One Piece fan. It's OG magic, so easy. before my time seeing Turbo Genius lose in Necropedance. Summer is nice as a black player. Dead in Standard. I didn't get any of that. Maybe I just don't know the whole thing here. I gotta drive home. See you in an hour, if you're still on in an hour. Nah, I'm gonna go off. I'm actually coming off in a few minutes. So I just wanted this to be like an hour 30. We're just chilling. One Piece is about the adventure. I can see why it might not have a hit. Might not have been a hit. At least in the West. It's a hit everywhere else. It's the highest selling manga in the world. By a long shot. You know, these other people being like, oh my god, Demon Slayer is catching up. And all this other shit. It's over. Demon Slayer is over. It can't catch up anymore. It only has legacy, and it's like, sorry. Slam Dunk can't even. Slam Dunk is in a similar situation where it's a very small number of volumes. But even that one has insane number, like, in terms of the proportion and stuff. One Piece is still going. And then it has all the other time, like, after it ends, right? Once it finishes, you think of how many people are finally going to watch it? Like, okay, now I'll see it. Now that it's over. A lot of people are waiting for that. I only waited this long because I have a feeling about Wano ending pretty soon, and I have a feeling that's going to be in this next phase that I really want to be there for. I don't want to be spoiled to it anymore through osmosis and stuff. I know I would have loved One Piece as a kid because I was already a fan of FMA and I loved emotional action in anime. Yeah, but we're not even talking about the comedy. It's fucking hysterical. The show is so good and funny. It's a great time. It's like the only funny action shonen. Like the only one. Like Dragon Ball kind of gets there. It's kind of close. It's kind of decent in that regard. And certainly the gag elements in Dragon Ball is what kind of propelled it to an even further status than, say, Fist of the North Star, which really didn't have that same degree. It had comedy, sure, but not like gag comedy. Not like a really silly kind of goofy thing, which is really the special spice, I think. It really ties everything together. And then Naruto, it has funny moments, but it's not that funny. Bleach, no, it's more cool than it is funny. It has funny moments, but no. And like, yeah, literally nothing has ever come close. Even talking about anime writ large, with how long One Piece has been and how many times it's gotten me to laugh, it's probably the most I've ever laughed in an anime. In a good way, of course. It's Magic the Gathering, the manga we're talking about. Oh! What I meant by 4Kids dub ruining its reputation is that it ran for 3 years. When most people thought of One Piece, they thought of the 4Kids dub. Sure. And not anymore. Pretty much not anymore. Like, that's still a part of its history, but it's been so long at this point. And it's not like it's accessible. No, it's not like anyone can actually watch it, right? Like, sure, it might be on, like, online streaming, like torrent or something, but, like, they've almost dead and buried the whole thing. It's not like we're going to release that with Discotheque, right? So understandable not to understand. MTG is probably one of the hardest games to understand if you don't play. I play Magic the Gathering. I know how to play the game, but there's just so much to it at this point. I played it when I was in, like, elementary school, like 3rd grade. Or 5th grade, really. I love One Piece manga, too, but I'm glad the anime is coming back this weekend. I would argue FMA has a similar level of comedy to One Piece. Yeah, it does, but it's also, like, not 1,000... It's not even 100 episodes. And it's also just not even that funny. It's still not as funny as One Piece. Like, all of East Blue, 61 episodes, is funnier than any battle shonen I've ever seen. Bar none. Period. Did you enjoy Long Ring Island? I loved it. Yes. One of my favorite arcs. Really funny, great time. It's so funny. It's interesting. It's really kind of cool and, like, you wouldn't expect, you know? And it's fun. Yeah. It's a great time. Fuck yeah. Anyone who says it's bad, they're not watching for... I don't want to fully generalize them, but I don't think they're watching for the right reasons. And I think they're going to get burned. I think a lot of people get burned out on One Piece because they might not be watching for the right reasons. Or it's like, oh, it doesn't have that thing that I liked. But you know what's... I can guarantee... I haven't seen all of it. I haven't seen half of it yet. But I can guarantee you what's very likely, it's going to retain that humor all the way through. If anything, if it doesn't feel like it's as adventurous, if they stay in the same place for a long time, or, you know, dramatic moments don't hit the same as they used to, where they've never really topped these big emotional moments, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the crew still has the best dynamic in any series I've seen, and the comedy is really. It doesn't always hit. I'm not saying it's a constant gold, platinum, whatever, but like, it's consistently funny. It's actually like really. It's so good. Fuck. Now the problem with people getting to One Piece is people being intimidated by the amount of episodes. Yeah, and then like they don't realize it doesn't feel like I've seen. It doesn't feel like I've seen 325 episodes. It really fucking doesn't. Bleach, I could feel it. Bleach, I actually could feel it. Naruto, I could feel it. One Piece, oh, I want more. Give me more, please. I love it. It's the best. I'll binge another 21 episodes tonight, or whatever. Like, that shit's nothing. It's nothing. You know? I mean, I never get the people saying it has an intimidating episode count, because that isn't a barrier for Shin-Chan or Conan, at least from what I've seen. For some people it's not a barrier. I can kind of get it for Shin-Chan or Conan because they're episodic. And if you love Shin-Chan, then it's like, yeah, more of that, please. Great. Or Conan, same thing. But I think one of the things that make it feel, for One Piece, that I haven't watched this many episodes is because of that driving narrative. And the constant, like, boom, to be continued. Oh my god, I need to see the next one. That drive and that addictive quality is really invaluable. One Piece makes you feel like part of the crew. I actually did have a very embarrassing... I think I was listening to Shining Ray, which is one of the EDs, and I had this really embarrassing, like, chuny-ass thought of, like, being on the Mary and shit, and, like, they're all, like, smiling at me and shit. Like, the exact same thing you're thinking of, and it's really corny and embarrassing, and, like, what am I, like a child? But, fuck me, it works. Fuck me, they know what they're doing. The crew's dynamic's so good, I watch clips on YouTube and sob all the time. Damn. Yeah. I'd rewatch. That's part of the reasons why I'm so willing to already want to rewatch it, because I do. At one point, on one hand, it's like, yeah, I feel like I know it's coming, so I'm gonna be a little more impatient to get to certain parts. But I think it's still gonna be fun because of those moment-to-moment interactions and enjoyment that you get from it. Now, I'm pretty sure Conan has an even harder time for people to get into because of the episodic nature. Yeah, that's what I figured. Anyway, I've stayed a little longer than I was expecting, an hour 39 or so. But I hope you guys had a good time. Probably true, but I haven't seen it said that much. Yeah, you're right, but that's because Shin-Chan and Conan don't have nearly the profile, and like people wanting them, especially One Piece fans. Like, there's so many like One Piece fans. You gotta watch One Piece, and I get it. I'm kind of the same way, but like I'm coming from this perspective now as someone who never really got converted by any fans. I literally ended up just like kind of watching it on my own volition. Ultimately, I didn't get pressured to watch it by nobody fully convinced me of their argument. Basically, a lot of us watched One Piece as kids, so we imagined the same thing. Oh yeah. Oh my god, that's crazy. Anywho, I'm gonna peace out. It's great seeing you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Yo, peace.